There's something truly magical about the smell of a home-cooked meal that takes you back to simpler times. Today, we're diving into 20 delicious meals that will bring you right back to Grandma's kitchen. Whether it was the 1930s or the 1980s, these classic dishes have been a staple of American households for generations. Number 1, chicken pot pie. Chicken pot pie is a dish that traces its roots back to early 20th century America, where it became a household favorite due to its practicality and rich, hearty flavor. Initially, it was a way to repurpose leftover chicken, a common practice in an era where food conservation was key. The dish evolved from earlier British meat pies, but adapted to American tastes with its creamy gravy and a buttery, flaky pie crust. It was particularly popular during the Great Depression as it allowed families to make a small amount of meat, stretch further by incorporating vegetables like carrots, peas, and potatoes, which were readily available and inexpensive. The versatility of chicken pot pie is one of its greatest strengths. While chicken is the traditional protein, variations of the dish could use turkey, especially after Thanksgiving, or even rabbit in rural areas. The filling, bound by a thick, velvety gravy, made the meal feel more luxurious than its humble ingredients suggested. The crust, usually made from scratch, could be either a traditional pie crust or a biscuit topping, depending on the region or family tradition. It was a dish often prepared in advance, making it a convenient option for busy households. By the 1950s, frozen chicken pot pies became widely available, bringing this comforting meal into even more homes across the country, cementing its place in American culinary history. Number 2, shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie is a classic dish with origins in the British Isles, specifically Ireland and Scotland, where it was initially created as a practical way to use leftover roasted meat. Traditionally made with minced lamb, hence the name shepherd, it has a rich filling of ground meat simmered in a savory gravy with onions, carrots, peas, and sometimes celery. This mixture is then topped with a layer of mashed potatoes, which crisps up beautifully in the oven, adding both texture and a comforting element to the dish. Over time, especially in America, ground beef became a popular substitute, leading to a variation often referred to as cottage pie. The preparation of shepherd's pie involves a few key steps to ensure a flavorful dish: browning the meat to develop deep, complex flavors, and adding herbs like thyme and rosemary, which complement the lamb or beef perfectly. Worcestershire sauce is a common addition, lending an umami depth to the gravy. Some variations include a layer of cheese over the mashed potatoes, creating a golden, bubbling crust when baked. During the 20th century, especially post-World War II, shepherd's pie became a staple in many households, particularly in the United States and Australia, as it was a convenient, one-dish meal that could be made in advance and reheated. Today it remains a beloved comfort food, adaptable to various dietary preferences, including vegetarian versions made with lentils or plant-based meats. Number 3, baked ham with pineapple. Baked ham with pineapple became a popular dish in mid-20th century America, especially around holiday seasons and Sunday dinners. Its roots trace back to the 1950s, when canned pineapple became widely available and a symbol of exotic flair in American cooking. The dish typically features a cured bone-in ham that is scored on the surface to allow the flavors to penetrate deeply. Pineapple rings, often secured with cloves or toothpicks, are arranged on the ham, creating a visually appealing and aromatic centerpiece. The pineapple not only adds a sweet and tangy contrast to the saltiness of the ham, but also helps to keep it moist during the baking process. A glaze, usually made from brown sugar, pineapple juice, honey, and sometimes mustard or cloves, is brushed over the ham, caramelizing as it bakes. This process results in a glossy finish that enhances the ham's natural flavors and adds a layer of sweetness. Some variations include maraschino cherries placed in the center of each pineapple ring for a retro look, contributing to both the presentation and flavor. The use of pineapple in this dish was also a nod to the growing fascination with Hawaiian culture in the post-World War II era, which led to an increase in tropical ingredients in American cuisine. Baked ham with pineapple has stood the test of time, evolving with modern twists but always retaining its classic, nostalgic appeal. Number 4, Ambrosia Salad. Ambrosia Salad is a dessert that became a popular addition to American holiday tables in the mid-20th century, particularly in the South. Its name, Ambrosia, which means food of the gods in Greek mythology, hints at its indulgent nature. The salad traditionally consists of a mix of sweet ingredients like mandarin oranges, pineapple chunks, maraschino cherries, shredded coconut, and miniature marshmallows. These ingredients are typically folded into a creamy base made from whipped cream or sour cream, sometimes blended with yogurt or mayonnaise for added tanginess. The inclusion of marshmallows adds a fluffy texture that contrasts with the fruit, creating a unique blend of flavors and mouthfeel. Some recipes incorporate chopped nuts like pecans or walnuts for crunch, as well as shredded sweetened coconut to enhance the tropical notes. The popularity of Ambrosia Salad surged in the 1950s and 1960s when convenience foods like canned fruit and ready-made whipped toppings became household staples. Its appeal lay in its simplicity and the use of pantry-friendly ingredients, making it an easy yet festive dish to prepare for gatherings. While the classic version remains a nostalgic favorite, modern adaptations might include fresh fruit or a lighter dressing to suit contemporary tastes. Despite its evolution, Ambrosia Salad continues to evoke a sense of nostalgia and remains a beloved side dish or dessert, especially during the holiday season. Number 5, chili. Chili is a robust stew that originated in the American Southwest, with deep roots in Tex-Mex culture. Traditional chili, often known as chili con carne, is made with ground or cubed beef, simmered with a mixture of chili peppers, tomatoes, onions, garlic, and spices, such as cumin and oregano. Beans are a debated addition. Purists argue they don't belong in authentic Texas chili, while others, especially in the northern U.S., include kidney or pinto beans for added heartiness. The dish is known for its adaptability, with recipes varying widely by region and personal preference. Variations include Cincinnati chili, which has a thinner consistency and is spiced with cinnamon and chocolate, often served over spaghetti. White chili is another version made with chicken, white beans, and green chilies, offering a lighter alternative. Chili became popular during the 20th century as a filling, affordable meal. It was frequently prepared in large batches for community gatherings and events like cook-offs, showcasing the diversity of chili recipes. Modern twists include vegetarian and vegan versions, using ingredients like lentils or plant-based meat substitutes. Chili is often garnished with toppings such as shredded cheese, sour cream, chopped onions, or jalapenos, and served with cornbread or tortilla chips. Number 6, stuffed peppers. Stuffed peppers have a rich history, appearing in various cuisines around the world. In the American version, they gained popularity in the mid-20th century as a versatile, nutritious meal. Bell peppers are hollowed out and filled with a mixture of ground meat, often beef or turkey, cooked with onions, garlic, and seasonings. Rice is a key ingredient, adding texture and bulk to the filling. The mixture is often bound together with tomato sauce, which not only adds moisture, but also infuses the dish with a savory flavor. Some recipes call for a sprinkle of cheese on top, which melts and creates a golden crust when baked. Variations of stuffed peppers are numerous, with some including different grains like quinoa or barley for a modern twist. In the Mediterranean style, peppers are filled with a mixture of ground lamb, herbs, and sometimes dried fruits, like raisins for a sweet-savory balance. Stuffed peppers are also adapted for vegetarian diets, using beans, lentils, or tofu as a protein source. The dish is known for its adaptability to various dietary needs and its ability to be prepared ahead of time, making it a practical option for family meals or gatherings. The peppers themselves can range from mild to spicy, depending on the variety used, adding a customizable element to this classic comfort food. Number 7, goulash. American goulash, also known as slumgullion, differs significantly from the Hungarian version, focusing on simplicity and ease. It features a tomato-based sauce seasoned with garlic, paprika, and sometimes Italian herbs. Ground beef is browned and mixed with onions and bell peppers before adding canned tomatoes or tomato soup. Elbow macaroni is then cooked directly in the sauce, allowing it to absorb the flavors, resulting in a one-pot dish that minimizes cleanup. This method gives the pasta a rich, hearty taste, making it distinct from other pasta dishes where the sauce is added separately. Cheese, such as shredded cheddar or Parmesan, is often incorporated either melted into the mixture or sprinkled on top before serving. Its appeal in the 1960s and 1970s lay in its affordability and the ability to feed a large family using inexpensive, readily available ingredients. Some variations include Worcestershire sauce or soy sauce for added depth, while others may introduce vegetables like corn or mushrooms for extra texture and nutrition. The dish is incredibly adaptable, lending itself to various modifications to suit personal tastes or dietary needs, such as using turkey or plant-based meat alternatives. Number 8. Rice pudding. Rice pudding is a dessert with origins in many cultures, making it a truly versatile dish. In American households, it was a thrifty way to transform leftover rice into something decadent. Traditionally, rice pudding is made by slowly simmering rice in milk until the grains become tender and the mixture turns creamy. Sugar is added to sweeten the pudding, while vanilla extract, cinnamon, and sometimes nutmeg infuse it with warmth and aroma. Some recipes use evaporated milk or cream to enhance the richness, while others might include egg yolks to create a custard-like consistency. Raisins are a common addition, either mixed into the pudding during cooking or sprinkled on top before serving. In the 20th century, many families added their own twists. Some incorporated citrus zest for a hint of freshness, while others included a splash of rum or bourbon for a more adult version. Coconut milk became a popular substitute for dairy in some regions, adding a tropical flavor. Rice pudding can be served warm or cold, making it adaptable for different seasons. Its simplicity allows for numerous variations, such as using different types of rice like arborio for a risotto-like texture, or basmati for a more fragrant dish. The preparation method may vary from stovetop to oven-baked, each yielding a slightly different texture, either smooth and creamy or with a caramelized top layer. Number 9. Baked ziti. Baked ziti is a quintessential Italian-American comfort food that became popular in mid-20th century America, especially in regions with large Italian communities. This dish involves tubular ziti pasta mixed with a robust tomato sauce, which often includes ground beef, Italian sausage, or both, adding layers of flavor. The sauce is simmered with garlic, onions, and Italian herbs like oregano and basil, creating a rich and aromatic base. Ricotta cheese is often mixed with the pasta, providing a creamy texture that balances the acidity of the tomato sauce. Mozzarella and Parmesan cheeses are generously layered throughout the dish, creating a gooey, melted topping that turns golden and slightly crispy when baked. The pasta is typically cooked al dente before being mixed with the sauce and cheeses, ensuring it retains a firm texture even after baking. Some variations include adding vegetables like spinach or bell peppers, enhancing the dish's nutritional value. Baked ziti is traditionally prepared in a large casserole dish, making it perfect for feeding a crowd at family gatherings, potlucks, or Sunday dinners. Its preparation method allows it to be made ahead of time, stored in the refrigerator, and baked when needed, making it a convenient option for busy households. The versatility of baked ziti means it can be easily adapted for vegetarians by omitting the meat and adding more vegetables or plant-based protein alternatives. Number 10. Oven-baked pork chops. Oven-baked pork chops became a beloved dish in the 1960s and 1970s due to their simplicity and versatility. The chops are typically coated with seasoned breadcrumbs or flour, sometimes mixed with herbs like thyme, rosemary, or paprika, enhancing the flavor while creating a crispy crust. Before baking, the pork chops are often dipped in beaten eggs or milk to ensure the coating adheres well, forming a golden brown exterior during baking. Baking them in the oven rather than frying made this a healthier option that still delivered on texture and taste. To keep the chops juicy, they are often seared briefly in a hot pan before being transferred to the oven, sealing in the natural juices. For added moisture and flavor, some recipes include a layer of sliced onions or a splash of broth in the baking dish. Pairing with applesauce became popular not just for flavor, but also for its balance. The tart sweetness of applesauce complements the savory pork perfectly. Oven-baked pork chops are also commonly served with sides like mashed potatoes, green beans, or roasted vegetables, creating a hearty and well-rounded meal. This dish became a comfort food staple due to its ease of preparation and the ability to feed a family with minimal effort. Number 11. Beef stroganoff. Beef stroganoff originated in 19th century Russia and evolved into a beloved American dish during the mid-20th century. Its adaptation involved tender strips of beef, often seared quickly to retain juiciness. Mushrooms, typically cremini or button, add an earthy flavor and absorb the sauce's richness. The sauce itself is a key element, made from beef broth, sour cream, and sometimes a touch of Dijon mustard or Worcestershire sauce for depth. This creamy sauce, thickened by a roux or cornstarch, creates a velvety texture that coats the beef and mushrooms. White wine or brandy is occasionally added to deglaze the pan, enhancing the sauce's complexity. Traditionally served over egg noodles, which soak up the sauce perfectly, it can also be paired with rice or mashed potatoes. Beef stroganoff was considered sophisticated because of its rich flavor profile, yet it was simple enough to prepare on weeknights. The dish's appeal also lay in its flexibility. It could be adapted with different cuts of beef, like sirloin or even ground beef, making it accessible for various budgets. In modern times, versions using chicken or vegetarian substitutes have emerged, but the classic beef and mushroom combination remains a timeless favorite. Number 12. Sweet potato casserole. Sweet potato casserole gained popularity in mid-20th century America, particularly as a Thanksgiving staple. It originated as a way to blend sweet and savory elements into a single side dish. The base consists of sweet potatoes, which are boiled or roasted until tender and then mashed with ingredients like butter, brown sugar, and spices such as cinnamon, nutmeg, and sometimes a hint of vanilla. This mixture creates a rich, creamy foundation that balances the natural sweetness of the potatoes with warming spices. The topping is a key feature, typically involving a layer of miniature marshmallows that melt and caramelize in the oven, forming a gooey golden crust. Some versions also include a streusel made from chopped pecans, brown sugar, and flour, adding a crunchy texture that contrasts with the soft, smooth, sweet potatoes. In the 1950s, the dish became more mainstream when marshmallow manufacturers promoted it as a novel way to incorporate their product into traditional holiday cooking. Today, variations of the casserole may include additions like maple syrup, orange zest, or even a splash of bourbon, offering depth and sophistication to the flavor profile. Despite its evolution, the dish remains a nostalgic favorite that evokes holiday warmth and family gatherings. Number 13. Salmon patties. Salmon patties were a practical and delicious solution for many families, particularly during the 1940s and 1950s, when fresh fish was often expensive and less accessible. Canned salmon provided an economical alternative without sacrificing nutritional value. The process began by mixing the canned salmon, which was already cooked, with breadcrumbs, eggs, and seasonings, like onion, garlic, dill, and lemon zest to enhance the flavor. Some recipes included a splash of Worcestershire sauce or Dijon mustard to add depth and a subtle tang. The mixture was shaped into small patties and then pan-fried until they developed a crispy golden crust while remaining tender on the inside. To avoid them becoming too dry, the patties were often cooked in a mix of butter and oil, creating a rich, savory outer layer. Some variations incorporated finely chopped vegetables like bell peppers or celery for extra texture and nutrition. These patties were typically served with simple sides such as mashed potatoes, green beans, or a fresh salad. For a creamy finish, a drizzle of tartar sauce or a squeeze of fresh lemon was added just before serving. Salmon patties also worked well as a sandwich filler, tucked into a soft roll with lettuce and a dollop of mayonnaise. Their adaptability and ease of preparation made them a recurring favorite for family dinners. Number 14. Homemade applesauce. Homemade applesauce is a simple yet flavorful dish that captures the essence of autumn. It starts with freshly picked apples, often a blend of sweet and tart varieties like McIntosh, Granny Smith, or Honeycrisp, to achieve a balanced flavor. The apples are peeled, cored, and cut into chunks before being simmered in a pot with water, sugar, and a touch of cinnamon. Some variations include adding a splash of apple cider or lemon juice to enhance the fruit's natural tartness. As the apples cook, they break down into a thick, smooth consistency, while the cinnamon infuses the mixture with a warm, aromatic quality. Depending on the preference for texture, the applesauce can be left chunky or pureed until smooth. For added depth, some recipes incorporate other spices like nutmeg or cloves. It can be sweetened with honey or maple syrup instead of sugar for a different flavor profile. Homemade applesauce was often made in large batches and stored in jars, providing a convenient, preservative-free option that could be enjoyed year-round. It served multiple purposes: as a standalone snack, a side dish for roast meats, a topping for pancakes, or even an ingredient in baking to add moisture and natural sweetness. Served warm, it brings a comforting, nostalgic feeling, while chilled applesauce is refreshing and light. Number 15, chicken and rice. Chicken and rice is a classic one-pot dish that became popular in the 1960s for its simplicity and hearty flavors. It typically used bone-in chicken thighs or drumsticks, which provided rich flavor and moisture to the dish as they cooked. The chicken was often seared first to develop a golden crust, then removed from the pot while onions, garlic, and sometimes bell peppers or carrots were sautéed in the rendered fat. The rice was added next, toasting briefly to absorb the flavors before being simmered in a broth made from chicken stock, herbs, and spices like thyme, bay leaf, and paprika. Some recipes incorporated saffron or turmeric to give the rice a golden hue and an aromatic quality. The chicken was nestled back into the pot to cook alongside the rice, allowing the grains to absorb the savory essence of the meat. This cooking method created a dish with a layered flavor profile and ensured the rice was infused with the juices of the chicken. Variations included adding frozen peas or a splash of lemon juice towards the end of cooking for freshness. The result was a comforting, complete meal that was both economical and nourishing. The dish could be easily adapted with different seasonings, making it a versatile option that catered to various palates. Number 16, Swedish meatballs. Swedish meatballs, known as köttbullar in Sweden, became a hit in American households during the 1950s and 1960s due to their rich flavor and comforting nature. Traditionally, they are made with a mixture of ground beef and pork, which provides a balanced taste and juicy texture. The meat mixture is seasoned with a blend of spices, including allspice and nutmeg, which give the meatballs their distinctive warmth and subtle sweetness. Breadcrumbs soaked in milk or cream are often added to the mixture to keep the meatballs tender as they cook. After forming into small, bite-sized balls, they are browned in a skillet to develop a flavorful crust. The pan drippings are then used to create a luscious gravy by deglazing with beef broth and thickening with flour or cornstarch. Heavy cream is stirred into the sauce, creating a rich, velvety texture that complements the spices in the meatballs. Traditionally, they are served over egg noodles or mashed potatoes, though rice is also a popular base. In Sweden, they are often accompanied by lingonberry jam, which adds a sweet tart contrast to the savory dish. The combination of savory meatballs and creamy sauce makes this dish a comforting favorite that has been embraced globally. Number 17, peach cobbler. Peach cobbler is a classic American dessert that has its roots in Southern cuisine, particularly cherished during the summer months when peaches are at their peak ripeness. The dessert is known for its simple preparation, featuring ripe, juicy peaches mixed with sugar, a touch of cinnamon, and sometimes a splash of lemon juice to enhance their natural flavor. The peaches are then topped with a batter or biscuit-like dough, which, as it bakes, creates a crust that is both crisp on the surface and tender underneath. This crust can vary. Some versions use a drop biscuit dough for a more rustic texture, while others employ a cake-like batter that rises around the fruit, absorbing the juices and creating a gooey, flavorful interior. Traditional Southern recipes often call for baking the cobbler in a cast-iron skillet, which helps to caramelize the edges, adding an extra layer of depth to the flavor. The contrast between the warm, spiced peaches and the buttery crust is what makes this dessert irresistible. It is often served with a generous scoop of vanilla ice cream, which melts over the warm cobbler, creating a creamy sauce that blends with the sweet, tangy peach syrup. Modern variations might include adding a touch of bourbon or brown sugar to the filling for added richness, but the classic version remains a beloved favorite, capturing the essence of a simple, comforting summer treat. Number 18, chicken fried steak. Chicken fried steak is a Southern comfort food that dates back to the 19th century, believed to be inspired by German and Austrian immigrants who brought dishes like Wiener Schnitzel to America. Despite its name, it contains no chicken. It's typically made with tenderized beef cutlets, often round steak or cube steak. The meat is pounded thin to ensure tenderness and then coated in a seasoned flour mixture. It's dipped in an egg wash and dredged in flour again, creating a double coating that results in a crispy, golden crust once fried. This method of preparation transforms a usually tough cut of beef into a flavorful and tender dish. The steak is fried in a skillet with hot oil, similar to fried chicken, which is where it gets its name. The key to an authentic chicken fried steak is the creamy white gravy made from the pan drippings, flour, milk, and sometimes a pinch of black pepper or cayenne for a bit of heat. The gravy is poured generously over the steak, seeping into every crispy crevice. Traditionally, it's served alongside mashed potatoes or buttermilk biscuits, which also benefit from a ladle of that rich, savory gravy. Variations of the dish include the addition of spices like paprika or garlic powder to the flour mixture, adding depth to the flavor profile. Number 19, spaghetti and meatballs. Spaghetti and meatballs is a hallmark of Italian-American cuisine, with roots dating back to Italian immigrants in the early 20th century. This dish typically features meatballs made from a mixture of ground beef, pork, or veal, blended with breadcrumbs, eggs, garlic, Parmesan cheese, and Italian herbs like parsley and oregano. The meatballs are often pan-fried to create a flavorful crust before being simmered in a robust marinara sauce. This sauce is made from tomatoes, garlic, onions, olive oil, and sometimes a splash of red wine, giving it a rich, tangy depth. The slow simmering of meatballs in the sauce allows them to absorb the flavors, becoming tender and juicy. The spaghetti is cooked al dente, ensuring it holds up against the hearty sauce and meatballs. It's not uncommon for the sauce to be tossed with the spaghetti before serving, allowing the pasta to soak in the flavors. Grandma's version might include a few family secrets, such as a pinch of sugar in the sauce to balance acidity or a dash of red pepper flakes for a hint of heat. Often topped with freshly grated Parmesan and a sprinkle of chopped basil, the dish combines savory, tangy, and umami elements in each bite. It's served with crusty garlic bread or a simple green salad, completing this comforting meal. Number 20, homemade cinnamon rolls. Homemade cinnamon rolls are a classic indulgence that requires a bit of time and effort, but the results are well worth it. The dough is usually made with a rich, buttery base that includes flour, sugar, eggs, and yeast. After the dough is allowed to rise, it's rolled out into a large rectangle and generously brushed with melted butter. The filling, a blend of cinnamon, brown sugar, and sometimes a touch of nutmeg, is sprinkled evenly across the buttered dough, ensuring every bite is packed with flavor. For an extra indulgence, some recipes include chopped nuts or raisins in the filling. The dough is then tightly rolled into a log and sliced into individual rolls, revealing the iconic spiral pattern. After a second rise, the rolls are baked until they are golden brown and the filling has turned into a gooey, caramelized center. They're typically topped with a rich icing made from powdered sugar, milk, and vanilla extract, though some versions use cream cheese for a tangier contrast. The icing is usually drizzled on while the rolls are still warm, allowing it to seep into the crevices. These cinnamon rolls are best enjoyed fresh out of the oven, offering a soft, fluffy texture with a deliciously sticky center. They have become a cherished weekend or holiday breakfast item, filling homes with their comforting aroma.